In the last few days, something kind of wild happened. A whole lot of people on the internet convinced themselves that the president of the United States, Donald Trump, was in fact dead. On over the weekend, there were 158,000 posts on X with the phrase "Trump is dead" on them, and another 42,000 that said Trump died. There was one TikTok video that got 3.5 million views that suggested Trump may have died. It was everywhere. People I am friends with but aren't into politics were texting me asking if Trump had died. Just to be clear, let's get the good stuff in here. No, Donald Trump is not dead. Okay. All right. So, how did we get here is a really interesting conversation. So, Trump was in a cabinet meeting in late August, last Tuesday, where they were there for about 3.5 hours. But then he was not seen in public again for days. So the rest of the week he didn't have any public events, and the weekend he was dark, meaning that there weren't any public events there, which led to people on Friday and Saturday to speculate he might be in fact dead, a weekend at Bernie situation. Now, Trump appeared in public on Sunday, then on Monday as well, and then he is set to talk to the press Tuesday, day after Labor Day, at 2 p.m. And no, that announcement is not that he is resigning due to health issues. It apparently has something to do with the Department of Defense. Okay, so let me talk about how we got here and what I think it all means. But before I do that, I want to make a pitch to you. I want you to become a subscriber to this channel. 2 words, I'll make it short: independent and authentic. Independent, that's me, from big media and from the 2 political parties. Authentic, I'm always going to tell you what you want, what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. I'm not doing fan fiction or fan service here. Okay, so let's talk about this. So no, Donald Trump is not dead. But here are the set of circumstances that led people to believe it. As I said, he didn't appear in public for several days. A couple other things happened during that time. J.D. Vance, the vice president of the United States, gave an interview with USA Today in which he said that if there was a terrible tragedy, he was ready and willing to serve. Now, of course, he's going to say that. He's the vice president of the United States. He's not going to say, I don't know if I can do the job if Donald Trump can't, of course. But so there was that. Then there was, and this reset the news off on Monday night, Labor Day weekend, that there was an announcement that Trump was doing something at 2 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. And that led to rampant speculation that this was the big one, that he was going to announce that something was wrong with him, something very wrong with him health-wise, and he was stepping down. There were completely unfounded rumors kicking around the internet on Tuesday that the roads around Walter Reed Hospital had all been closed. Not true. We expect, as I said earlier, Donald Trump's announcement will have something to do with the Department of Defense. This is not about his health. But there were reasons, you could see if you were a little bit conspiracy minded or you wanted Donald Trump to be out of the picture, you could see how you got there, right? We know he's been dealing with his ankles are swollen. We know he's had bruising on the back of his right hand. The White House says he has a condition called chronic venous insufficiency, which is a benign condition. It just means fluid tends to bog down in his legs, making his ankles swollen. They've said his hand is bruised from shaking so many hands because he takes aspirin for his heart, and that leads to easier bruising. Okay, all of these things, and I talked to a doctor, a friend of mine who is a doctor last week, and he said these things are broadly explainable with chronic venous insufficiency. That no, he does not. Donald Trump does not have congenital heart failure. No, he is not dying from kidney failure. None of those things. But the fact that this rumor that Donald Trump was either dying or dead, and even to the point where when he did appear in public to play golf over the weekend, people were saying it was a body double, like a weekend at Bernie situation. I think there's 2 things that are important to note here going forward. Number 1, Donald Trump made his bed in this regard. If you remember, Donald Trump was intimately involved in suggesting repeatedly and publicly that something was very wrong with Hillary Clinton in 2016. You will remember that at a September 11th commemoration, Clinton got faint and had to be helped back to the car. Her office said she was dealing with, I believe it was a flu or pneumonia at the time. Trump refused to accept that and insisted to anyone who would ask that there was something really wrong with her and that was being hidden from the public. He said the same thing in 2020 about Joe Biden. He said the same thing in 2024 about Joe Biden. Now, I will note, it seems to me, I'm not sure Trump is right about this, but it seems to me we did not know everything we needed to know about Joe Biden's physical and mental well-being in 2024. I think that's a separate thing from Donald Trump just insisting that Biden had lost it and wasn't in control and people were running his presidency. I think both of those things can be true. But Donald Trump has sowed these seeds of kind of conspiracy theories around candidates' health for a very long time. The other thing that I think is worth noting is Donald Trump has been remarkably non-transparent about his own health over the years. You will remember when he was running for president, and if you don't remember, I will remind you now, that Donald Trump had a lawyer from his personal doctor in which the letter said Donald Trump would be, if elected, the healthiest person ever to serve as president. Now, that doctor, who is since deceased, later recanted and said that Trump had basically dictated that letter to him, that Trump had told him what to say and he had just said it. We have seen other examples of this when Ronnie Jackson, who is now a member of Congress from Texas, but he was once the White House physician in Trump's first term, he said that Trump's health was remarkable, that he had quote unquote good genes, and that he could live to 200 if he watched better what he ate and exercised more. We have seen over and over again. I'll give you one other example. Donald Trump in his first term got COVID. The White House and the White House physicians and the people taking care of him, including doctors, insisted he was fine. It was minor. He wasn't having any breathing issues. Well, we later learned, thanks to reporting by the New York Times and others, that in fact Donald Trump was far sicker than we knew at the time, and than his doctor said, and that there was some question whether he would have to be intubated because he was having issues with breathing. So my point broadly here is this is a guy with an administration with a very long record of not necessarily telling the truth or the whole truth about his health. That does not mean he is either dead or dying. I don't think that is true, but I think it gives us reason to at least be somewhat skeptical when they tell us what is wrong with him, or like Trump said on Sunday night in all caps, quote, never felt better in my life, talking about his own health on Truth Social, or when Eric Trump, his son, says, though, and this is a paraphrase, but the left is sick and twisted, suggesting that my father is dead or something's really wrong with him. Again, Donald Trump did this to Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton repeatedly. So this is not new ground, and it's ground he tilled. Now, that doesn't make two wrongs, again, don't make a right. To me, you have to say, like, okay, what's the evidence Donald Trump is dead? He hasn't appeared in public? That's not enough for me. Then he does appear in public and you say he has a body double. Like, you got to kind of listen to yourself and say, like, I sound kind of crazy when I'm doing this. Again, a doctor who I talked to said Trump's current ailments, the bruising and the swollen ankles, are consistent with the diagnosis that we got last month or 2 months ago in July, that he has chronic venous insufficiency and that it is a benign condition. Do I think that we should be skeptical? Yes, because I have said I took Joe Biden and his team's word too much about, oh, he's fine, there's no problems, his age isn't catching up with him, when in fact it's clear his age was catching up with him. So I do think we need to be skeptical. Trust but verify is the right approach. I will continue to do that. I will continue to ask the questions, but I will tell you, folks, don't spread rumors that Donald Trump is dead. It just makes you look like a crazy person. Like, if Donald Trump had to be brought to a hospital, or in fact was deceased, trust me, they would not be able to keep that a secret. Okay, there's just no way in this modern political and press environment where that would happen. So Donald Trump very much alive. Trust but verify when it comes to his health. And I hope you subscribe to this channel. I'll also ask you, if you can, to like and comment on this video in particular. It helps me grow with people who are not already subscribers. Last thing, tell a friend, tell an acquaintance, tell someone you run into at the grocery store what I'm doing here, independent and authentic, and why you think it's worth following. All right, everyone, take care.